Hello everybody and welcome back at Adobe Live. I'm your host Kladi and I'm here just coming back from Adobe Max in LA where we witnessed the releases of the wonderful Adobe Apps 2023. Adobe Max was an absolute blast and I'm so excited to be here to focus on this Illustrator Creative Challenge. In particular today we're going to be exploring the topic of illustration and also we're going to be digging in some of the new features. In particular, the very, very popular and super exciting Intertwine. I will actually show you how to get it to work. It's super easy, and we will look on how to intertwine our graphics and our vector using Illustrator. But before I get started, first of all, you can probably notice a change of location. I'm not in my usual studio in Manchester as I'm traveling. I managed to set up a studio on the go, so let me know, is the audio okay? Can you see me okay? I know there is no green screen. In fact, I can finally wear some glasses when I work, but it's very exciting to see everybody here. Let me know, of course, if you had a chance to have a look at the keynotes, if you had a chance to had a little bit of a look at Illustrator 2023. If you haven't downloaded Illustrator 2023, you can do so very quickly by heading on the main Adobe website or simply by heading to your Creative Cloud apps from your desktop. So there, all you have to do is to check on your updates and you will see there will be a brand new updates for Illustrator. Now, let me go ahead and say hi to the chat. Don't forget to tell me where are you watching from. I'm always super excited about our international community. And I can see here in the chat, we have our lovely Val. Me and Val actually saw each other for a moment at Adobe Max. Val, I wanted to message you. Adobe Max was absolutely mind-blowing. I had a class with over 1,000 people live, and unfortunately that's the time where we actually met. I was in a panic. I had to run to my class. I would have gave you like a longer hug, but I know that me and Val, we share our crystals and Max to keep us on the good track during such a big event. So Val, lots of love to you. And also she's amazing. She's already shared in chat the link for you to download the Illustrator 2023. So if you haven't done so yet, click on the link that Val has put in the chat. And now just a quick other news before we get started. Actually, let me jump into my screen so you can have a little bit of a look at what are we going to be playing with. So this is the file that you can find for you to download. Is a starter file available for this challenge number 1. If you click at the link just below under the description, you will be able to download this starter file, which will be our starter file to start and play with the Intertwine tool today. But as I say, let me go and say hi to the chat. Wade, lovely to see you. Jack Watson in the chat. Colby. Garrett Williams, thank you so much for joining in. And we have so many people. Robert, Frank, what's up? Nice to see you. I'm glad it looks like audio and video is okay. Steve, lovely to see you. Ciao, ciao. Who else is here? Julia. And we have Mark, Afroya. Perfect. Mendewa, I'm so glad. Laura, it's been such a long time that I've not seen you here. Okay, so I'm going through the chat. Feel free to ask questions. As I said, Adobe Live is a fantastic place, a safe space to learn together. So make sure to use that chat today in order to ask your questions about Illustrator 2023, maybe Adobe Max, maybe any graphic design questions. Don't forget to just ask and I will be more than happy to reply as much as I can. Richard, thank you so much for joining and welcome to everybody that is tuning in right now. Also, if you are watching from YouTube, don't forget that I'm going to read a question from behance.net/live. So that is the place where you can join that live chat. So if you have any specific question, please come here on behance.net/live. Otherwise, if you're watching from Behance and you want to watch a replay, this stream and many other are available to watch on a replay on the wonderful Adobe Live, a brand new YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe to get notifications about the new upcoming stream and to be able to watch it live, but also access the playlist with the replay with so many wonderful streamers. Tom, Robert, Katarina, thank you so much for coming here. Time runs way too fast, and let's jump into this brand new file. Richard says, nice to see your dad during Max. Richard, was that for me? I don't know. Were you at Max? That's so exciting. Let me know. I'm super excited to know. Also, we have Val that has placed the YouTube link in the chat. So if you want to join from YouTube, you also have the opportunity to do there with the live link. Perfect. So let's get started. So once you open this file, and now remember, I'm just going to say one more time, for you to work on this file with this brand new feature, this is a release that was presented during the keynote at Adobe Max in LA and also online at max.adobe.com. By the way, you can also go online and watch more about Max by heading to max.adobe.com. If you head there, you will be able to follow along. If you have a previous version of Illustrator, this particular Intertwine tool that I'm going to show you, it will not be available. So you do need to upgrade in order to have it show it into your workspace. Okay, let's get started. Before we get started, I want to start to actually organize our file a little bit more. And by the way, a quick shout out this week, actually tomorrow, gosh, it's already tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to be live here with a new episode of Illustrator, but also I have a full episode of how to graphic design. We're going to focus on Illustrator 2023. So if you are a beginner, tomorrow, how to graphic design at 12 Pacific time will be the perfect way for you to get started and really get a workaround of the Illustrator, the workspace, and all the new features of Illustrator 2023. Okay, so let's get started here. I'm going to start by making sure that the file is ready for our Intertwine tool. So what I'm going to do is to head into my layers panel, and I'm going to start to split my content in different layers. Now, the reason why I use layers is because I want to have more control of the content that is inside my file. And I usually provide starter files within my streams that already give you access to a layered file. But in this case, I wanted to show you how to do it from scratch. So when you're going to start your own project and you're going to leverage the power of Intertwine, you will be actually able to also set up your file successfully in order to use the Intertwine tool. So I'm going to go ahead and start by double clicking on this layer, and I'm going to name it background. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on the plus icon in order to create a brand new little layer there. I'm going to zoom in so you can actually see it better. So that's our little plus that allows us to create a new layer. And this is our layer number 2 coming up. Here it is. It's just up there. Let me show it up for you. It's just up here. So what we're going to do here now is to name this layer, and I'm going to call this layer Intertwine. Now, you do not have to do this. It's just to give you an idea. It's nice to have the object that will merge together within the same layer. So let me go ahead and name the file. Sorry if I look around. It's the first time that I'm in this new setup, so I don't know where to look yet. So Intertwine. Perfect. And I most likely misspell it as well. And what I'm going to do there, I'm going to just select whatever is the item that I will intertwine. In this case, for me, is the text. And we're going to also create some zigzag line in just a second. So you can either grab the text directly from the layers panel. Again, I'm going to zoom in because I want you to see it here. So this is, once I select the text, you will see there will be also indicated as selected art within the layers panel. And once you do so, you will be able to simply click and drag whatever art you have selected inside the different layer. Now, as you can see, this gives me the opportunity to have more control. So our text now, which will be part of our intertwiningness, is now located on a different location, and my background will be locked. So I can go ahead now and click on the little space which is next to the layer's name that allows me to activate and toggle the lock. Whenever the lock icon shows in your layers panel, that means that your layer is locked, and that will preserve anything that is contained within the layer. So Babani is saying, hey Kladi, I'm excited to learn something and wishing you and everyone a happy and safe Diwali. And Bandi Chor Diwas, same to you. Happy Diwali to you and everybody who's celebrating it. Hopefully this colorful image will also join into celebrating Diwali as well. So, and thank you so much for joining us here. But let's get started and let's jump in. I want to move very fast into the actual new features. So to do so, I'm going to start by going ahead and starting to select my shape tool, which is usually the rectangle tool into your toolbar. You are going to be able to see the little rectangle tool inside your toolbar, and then you can click and hold in order to reveal the hidden tool. And in this case, I'm looking for the segment tool because I'm going to start by creating some lines. Now, make sure that you are on the layer that you have active here. Otherwise, if you try to draw on a locked layer, you won't be able to do so because the whole purpose of locking it is to preserve its content. So with our intertwine layer, I'm going to go ahead and click and drag in order to create a segment. You can create an horizontal segment. you can create a vertical segment, up to you. If you're wondering why my segments are transparent, I'm going to click and drag to select them, is simply because they do not have any stroke. So all I have to do is to head to my properties panel. And by the way, if you're wondering where are all these panels that I'm mentioning, the layers panel, the properties panel, all panel lives inside the window menu. So if you're looking for any panel, go ahead and simply select window, and you will see they are neatly organized in alphabetical order, ready for you to be selected. So here is the layers panel, here is the properties panel, where you'll be able to start styling your little stroke. And if you want, you can go further by changing the cap and the corner of your stroke to make sure that we're going to have some nice rounded corner at the edge of the stroke. Also, you will be able to access the swatches that are made available for you for this particular design. So if you select it, actually, let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna toggle the lock by unlocking my artwork, click and drag to select the artwork that I provided for you. And if you click at the little folder icon, which is located at the bottom of the layers panel, you will be able to create a new color group based on the art that you have selected. So let's go ahead and select it first and then click a little folder. I'm gonna call this one 2023 or whatever you want, and then simply click on OK. Now, if you see selected artwork is actually indicated there, so go ahead and click on OK, and you will see that this new color palette will appear and is now available for you. So what we can do here is once we select our stroke color, we will be able to apply any of the colors that are actually present within our swatches panel. So real quick, because we did have already added the color inside our swatches, it will be so nice to match our illustration. Okay, so we create a few strokes. You can also use the shortcut Alt if you're working on a Windows. There will be option working on a Mac, so iOS. You can duplicate by clicking and dragging while holding the shortcut. Okay, so once you've done so, maybe you can apply different colors. And what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go ahead and select all the other colors from our color palette. And what I'm gonna do here is just to create different strokes, because before we jump into our illustration, I just wanna show you the behavior of this specific Intertwine tool just by using stroke, just to make it a little bit easier. Now, having strokes that are straight is nice and cool, but what if we're still gonna create some wave? If you want to transform any stroke into a wave or into maybe a zigzag stroke, that is super easy. All you have to do is to apply an effect within Illustrator, and let me know in the chat who knows this effect already. So I'm going to go ahead and select effect, and then from there I'm going to go and select distort and transform. So select distort and transform. I can't pronounce transform. Distort and transform, and from there I will go ahead and select zigzag. By doing so, we will be able to apply to all the strokes that are selected a different zigzag effect. You can see that the zigzag panel will pop up. Here it is, and it will allow you to select the size of your zigzag and also the number of ridges that you want. And now you can keep the points into corner, or also you can make it into smooth waves. That's completely up to you. And then you can click OK to apply it. Now, as you can see, we still are dealing with the stroke. If you head to your appearance panel, remember Windows appearance, if you do not see the appearance panel, you'll be very easily toggle the zigzag effect on and off. And that lets you know that this is just simply an effect that we are applying to our stroke. Okay, so let's go ahead and start to play with this. So what happened if now I have all these strokes, and maybe I'm gonna maybe rotate one of this one of 90 degrees to create a rotation. So we have a couple strokes that are overlapping, and I'm gonna use the Alt or Option Command key in order to create multiple strokes. And you can also head to one of the corner of the stroke and rotate them. I'm gonna start with changing colors, so it'll probably be a little bit easier for us to understand what is going on with these strokes. So at the moment, you will see that the stroke will have, some are on the top, some are on the bottom, depending on which one I put on the top or the bottom. So what happened here if I wanted this particular stroke, and I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in here so we can have a little bit of a better look. So what if I want, for example, this stroke, this purple stroke, to go above one of the orange stroke, but not maybe on the other side of the clear beige stroke? How do we start to overlap without breaking the stroke? How do we create this movement? So this is very easy, and this is thanks to our brand new Intertwine tool. I'm going to show you with the text in just a moment because that's where things are going to get a little bit more complex, but I think that's a very nice starting point to understand how Intertwine works. All you have to do is to click and drag on the elements that you want to intertwine. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select my purple stroke with the zigzag effect. Alt Shift to select also any other stroke that you wish to incorporate and intertwine. In this case, I'm only selecting these three, and then the intertwine is located inside our object menu. So head to object, and I'm going to zoom in here so you can also see what I'm doing. Object at the top menu, and then if you head towards the bottom, you can see that we now have access to Intertwine. So this is the brand new feature that is being added. It's just there above my head. Object Intertwine. Object Intertwine. Make sure to take a screenshot right there. I'm just gonna leave it one more second, and then what you're left to do is to simply click on Make to create an intertwine effect here and to be able to access the feature. So once you use the intertwine, you will see that your cursor will look like a lasso tool. In fact, all you're left to do here is to click and drag and create and around any area that is overlapping in order to change the way that it intertwines. Look at that. In just one click, we were able to change the way that this stroke will interlap within each other. Now, if you're not comfortable using the lasso tool, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. You will be able also to use the rectangle tool. So you will be able to have a marquee that allows you to select an area. Here we go. So by holding the shift key, you will be able to select an area that is defined with a rectangle. So if you have a specific, maybe you're not comfortable with the intertwine, you will be able to use that with the wonderful shift key. So shift, click and drag. Instead of having the lasso tool, you will be able to use the rectangle tool for the selection. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so that was a way to show you a little bit much easily how that works. Now, what if I want to release, if I'm not happy with this anymore and I want to start to use my little strokes inside our text, because as you remember, we placed this specific text into a separate layer so we could use it with the intertwine tool, with an intertwine feature. So let's go ahead into our layer and make sure that we lock the background, and therefore once we lock the background, we will be able to click and drag on the background without making any changes. Then if you want to release, maybe you're not happy at what you have created here. As I said, I've created this just as a sample. All I have to do is to select our intertwine group and then head into object, and from here intertwine again and release. And I'm going to zoom in real quick so maybe you can take a screenshot. Object, intertwine, release. And before I click it, I'm just going to zoom out again so you can see what happens once I click release. The actual intertwine will be released, and in fact our strokes are now we're able to select our stroke independently. I'm just going to make this stroke blue, so we're going to be a little bit faster in finding it whenever I bring it inside the design. And then I'm just going to bring this stroke inside my design over here. So we're going to have this stroke that go all the way through our text. Again, I'm going to apply a different color just so we're going to be able to see it much faster here. Okay, and perhaps I'm going to rotate it as well so we can have different strokes that go around our text. Perfect. Okay, so the beauty of this is that I want to show you how you can use this stroke around the text, so you can perhaps use it in different loops. And I'm going to start with one at a time because, again, this is a brand new tool. So let me go ahead and do it one at a time. So right now here we have our stroke that is sitting in the middle of the text and also is in the same layer here of our text. And I'm going to double click because change the color of our layer, which will reflect in the color of the bounding box, just to make it a little bit more visible. I think probably blue will be better. There we go. So now you can see that I've selected the text, I've selected my stroke, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. So hopefully you can see it a little bit better here. And just like before, remember, object, intertwine. This is going to be the new way for us to create amazing, fun effect by overlapping over and again and changing the order of our of the way that our vector will display. The path will intertwine simply by clicking and dragging over them. It's never been so easy. It's never been so fast to create fun effect. So let's go ahead and select object. Now remember, you first have to select at least two, a minimum of two, or multiple paths that you wish to intertwine. They will have to display an overlap, because that's the whole point of intertwining them, is to make sure that the overlapped are the one that you want. And then object, intertwine, make. By selecting make, you will be able to use, as we did before, the lasso tool, and look how cool it is. Simply by clicking and dragging over it, you will be able to display the entire area that you wish to overlap. And again, here it is. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do it a little bit more here on the A. So look how cool. I'm literally having my little stroke going again in and out from our text. And look how awesome. And by the way, the stroke is still, if we want to get rid of our effect, and I haven't demoed this, so I don't know if we can actually do it, but if we head to our appearance panel, so if we isolate our stroke and we then head to our appearance panel, which I have no idea where it landed now, let's toggle it again, so perhaps we'll see where it's located inside our workspace. Here it is, it was just here at the bottom. You will be able to undo your little stroke and your little zigzag at any time. So this is still an effect. You will also be able, if you wish to do so, to go ahead and expand the experience. In this case, you will have a different path, but let's go ahead and try to do that as well. So if you want to now select these that are intertwined, you can also go back into object, intertwine, and edit. And by doing so, you will be able to further edit your path. So see how amazing. You can go ahead and do that as many times as you want. Also, don't forget that if you wish to change the side of something and you perhaps are not sure about your selection, you will always be able to use the rectangle marquee tool while having the intertwine features selected and holding the shift key. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you on the eye how easy it is. So I have my path that overlaps my eye, but I want to make sure that the path stays on top of the eye and it goes under the L. It stays on top of the L and goes under the eye. And by the way, the beautiful thing is that we're working within a group. We are not selecting each single letters. We're just selecting the group that we wish to intertwine. Becca, you're late, but you're the right time, because I'm going to show you one more time before we say goodbye. Object, intertwine, and make to start, and then edit if you wish to go ahead and edit another group. And then all you'll have to do is to click and drag over the area that you wish to intertwine, and here it is. And you can keep doing that as many times as you want. Adobe Illustrator will automatically intertwine any area of overlapping path within a group of elements that you have previously selected. And perhaps in this case, it had a little bit of an issue because I was working with a path with an effect. You will always be able to restore that and maybe just give it another go by releasing. So if you're not happy with this, what I will do is to head to Object and make sure that I first select my selection tool. So press the letter V and then Object, Intertwine, Release, and you will see that your stroke come back to whatever it started with. So in this case, we can go back Object, Intertwine, Make, and now we are free to start again, and you will see that any sort of pixels that it was there, that it was hiding, we managed to remove it. So let's go ahead and select another object to intertwine. So again, Object, Intertwine, Edit, if you want to go back and start editing your stroke again. Isn't that amazing? I'm going to repeat it one more time. I know I have just 1 minute to go. Hold the shift key if you're not comfortable with the lasso tool. That will allow you to have a much more precise selection by having the marquee tool that just shows up there and helps you to create this wonderful effect. Let's do it one more time, maybe here at the R. Here it is. And I think this is such a cool feature. Honestly, I think they've done a fantastic job at Adobe with this feature. And you can look at that, like I'm changing my mind. I wanted to go behind the T, I want to go on top of the O, and you can spend so much time. I look forward to see what you create. Have fun with this illustration. Use the zigzag to generate even more line that you can perhaps use for intertwining. Unfortunately, this is it for today. I will be back tomorrow, back to back with Illustrator Creative Challenge and with how to graphic design tonight we're going to be exploring in and out Illustrator, so this is perfect if perhaps you're a beginner. Unfortunately, it's time to say goodbye. Stay tuned. There is so much more fun here at Adobe Live, and don't forget to go ahead and also subscribe to the Adobe Live YouTube channel to watch this stream on a replay. Lots of love for me, and ciao ciao for now. I will see you tomorrow with a brand new Illustrator challenge. Goodbye, everybody.